We're going to go over a basic LS cam swap. It's good for all LS engines. We're swapping LS6 cam. Wanted more lift and duration. So off the shelf, that'll work with the springs we got. First thing to do, take off the belt and the water pump. Next, we'll pull off the harmonic balancer. Alright, we get the balancer off. Next thing to do is take the cover off. Make sure you remember there's 2 bolts on the bottom of the oil pan or you'll break them off and have to buy a new cover. Alright, next up, you gotta take off the coil packs. It's 5 10mm bolts. You take them out. And then you're going to take the valve covers off. Those are 4 8mm bolts. And then you can access the rockers. And you're going to take those loose. Make sure you only take the ones loose that don't have pressure on them. You can see this one doesn't have any pressure, that one. So these two will wait until I rotate it. And then we'll take the pressure off of them. Just so you don't bind up the threads. You might strip them out. Same with the other side. Pretty straightforward. Alright, we got the cover off. Now we gotta align it TDC. And then we can take off the timing chain and sprocket. Alright, if you can see, there's a dot on the oil cam sprocket. And then the little dot there, line them up. The pin should be in the 3 o'clock position roughly. And now we'll take off the sprocket. Okay, so after I get that off the sprocket, I like to put some longer bolts there. Spin this pretty quickly and you'll seat all those lifters in the trays. I took off the rocker arms and loosen them up so whenever you turn it over again TDC, it'll push most of them back in there. That way you don't got to worry too much, but that's another little thing that'll help you out. Alright, the next thing to do is take off that cover, 4 10mm bolts. And we're going to prep the other cam so we can go in pretty quickly. And I'll get the rods to hold the lifters up. Just another fail-safe. Okay, we made a quick process of taking the old cam out, throwing the new one in. Even if there's rods in there, you never want to do it very slow. But be careful when you're throwing it back in. Use the longer bolts again to kind of help you guide it in. And then you got to make sure the pin over there is at 3 o'clock again. And you'll have the tabs lining up. You're going to have to probably play with it a little bit until you get it properly seated in there. And then you're going to go and torque everything up. Alright, sorry I missed the last step. You have to torque the back plate back on over the cam. Those are going to be 10 mils again, and they're going to be 18 foot-pounds. And then these front ones, if you're going to reuse the old ones, I like to go higher. I think it says 18 to 26. I do it around 25 foot-pounds, just to make sure that it's secured. Now we can go ahead and put the cover back on. Alright, we have the cover back on. We stuck the balancer on first, tightened it down, and then you torque down the cover bolts. Should be 8 to 11 foot-pounds. Time to put on the water pump. What you want to do is you want to get it on one that doesn't have any pressure on it. You're going to tighten it down until you don't have any lash in there. So this rocker arm is not going to move up and down. You can't really put a feeler gauge in there or anything. Just when it starts to get tight, that's when you're going to stop tightening down on it. After you've gotten it hand tight with no lash on the rocker, you're going to use your wrench and you're going to turn. Now what you're going to look for is quarter turns. You know, just think of it in quadrants. So moving from here to here is 1/4 turn. And you're going to see how many turns, quarter turns it takes you to torque that all the way down until it doesn't really move anymore. I mean, don't go crazy, but, you know, torque it down a decent amount and count those quarter turns. You don't want to have any more than 5 quarter turns. Each quarter turn is roughly worth about 18.4 thousandths or 0.0184. And, you know, your lifter has, you know, a range in which it likes to operate. And if you have more than 5 turns on there, you're going to start getting down into the bottom of your range of your lifter, and you could have some issues. So right now we got a 7.4 push rod in there. If you're in a situation where you've tightened it down all the way, but you've still got some slack here, you're going to need a longer push rod. If you get into a situation where you've tightened it down and it's taken more than 5 turns to tighten it all the way down, then you probably have too long of a push rod. And so you're going to start pushing the spring down actually. And that's going to tell you that you're going to be on the lower end of your lifter. So you're going to need to get a shorter push rod. All right, so we got 5 quarter turns on there. The other one we got about 4.5. So, you know, that's within the limit. It's kind of right on the verge, but it'll still be fine. So we're going to go ahead and reuse those. So get all the ones down that don't have any pressure on the springs, rotate the engine over, tighten down all the other ones. You know, I like to check 2 or 3 of these just to see if it's consistent. Usually it is. Then after you've tightened them down all the way, you're going to go and torque them to 22 foot-pounds. And that's that. All right, so we got the valve cover on. Lightly torque down on those. Don't go crazy. You want to ruin those rubber gaskets there. Always check before you put it on that you got the gasket that seals between this surface and the groove there all the way. You don't want to pinch it. You're going to have an oil leak and then have a big mess to clean up. Then you're going to go ahead and put the coil bracket and packs on. You know, those are going to be hand tight. Don't go crazy on those again, you know. Then reconnect your harness there, and you're going to go through and reconnect your spark plug wires. And then should be ready for a test fire. Alright, we're going to do a janky start with the new cam. Here it goes.